This is where it gets fun. This is where I come alive.
He's ready to show up, and Jake's in good shape. His mind is very locked in and focused for this. So, we're all looking forward to it. So.
One Jake Paul is about to walk into the biggest test of his life, fully locked into a brutal heavyweight training camp in Miami. He's living and breathing preparation for his December 19th showdown. With Anthony Joshua, he has brought in world-class sparring partners to mirror Joshua's towering frame and explosive power, while grinding daily with elite coaches. And this is where the work gets truly serious. Specialized therapists and advanced performance tools are built to know his routine, to squeeze out maximum strength, speed, and surgical level precision. Every session is crafted to sharpen technique, elevate his gas tank, and fortify him mentally, making sure Paul walks in ready for the hardest night of his career and approaches the ring with absolute focus and unshakable determination. Time to shock the world, baby! To Jake Paul's training camp for Anthony Joshua shows a level of commitment most people will never fully understand. His coach explains that much of Jake's sacrifice and effort happens far from cameras and social media. Long days inside the gym, relentless conditioning drills, and obsessive attention to tiny technical details are all part of the grind the audience rarely sees. But this unseen work is where champions are built. His coach points out that fans often miss the scaly-off preparation needed to compete on this stage, especially against a fighter of Joshua's caliber. Jake's dedication is complete. Physical fatigue and mental pressure are daily realities in his world. Even so, he fights through every session with purpose, showing a focus and drive that goes far beyond simple entertainment.
It's sacrifice in the camp, and Jake sacrificed a lot to get ready for the last fight, on top of releasing the new brand W, and so he needed a break. And so we took a month off, got right back in there, and now we're getting ready for Mike, and we're not as heavy as we were before, which is a plus for us. I didn't want us to go back up, but you can guarantee he's going to be ready to fight now. I think in the last 6 weeks, you've seen Jake slowly tighten himself up and get himself prepared, and he's really locked in now. So what we've been able to see is Jake evolve into the gladiator. He's slowly evolving into the gladiator that he has to become for fight night. About time he finishes the camp and goes through everything he needs to go through, by that night he'll be fully prepared. His outer shell that he needs to be able to go in there and be the gladiator for the night, he'll have that ready. And that's what you see happening now. That's the process in which we're in now.
Every piece of his training is designed with one clear objective in mind: defeating a proven former champion. Analysts say Jake's mental preparation now rivals his physical grind. He runs through each scenario in his mind, anticipates problems before they appear, and builds his sessions to reinforce belief while directly attacking his weaknesses. This mindset training helps him stay calm when the heat is on and execute game plans without second-guessing when everything is on the line. And this is where his evolution really shows. Paul's psychological readiness reflects a new maturity forged over multiple fights, revealing a fighter who is dynamic. More than a social media star who simply crossed over into boxing.
Built for this. Enjoy the process, enjoy the moment. When it's over, I'm gonna be missing these moments.
145.
Sparring partners are a vital pillar in Jake Paul's preparation. People inside his camp say he regularly tests himself against seasoned professionals, sometimes outworking them and sending them home, a reminder of the gap in hunger and focus. The current emphasis on Anthony Joshua's target has created the first training environment that truly matches size and power he'll confront in fight night. And that's exactly what Jake wants. Sparring partners explain that he constantly looks for opponents who push him to his limits, forcing him to adjust on the fly and sharpen his tactics. These hard rounds let him rehearse reactions under pressure, polish his defense in real time, and try out offensive combination chat could be decisive against a heavyweight with Joshua's pedigree.
Training with Jake Paul, when that was, how much sparring you did with him.
So training with Jake Paul, I got to understand how he was as a fighter. He was new into the boxing. You know, he was developing at a very quick rate. This guy trained his ass off. Like, we was far twice a week in the hot ass Denver, Puerto Rico. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. Dude, when I tell you Jake was beating up all these professional boxers who was sparring them, it was just one of those like, bro, he was whooping their ass and sending them home. That same night, he told everybody bluntly, I'm sending you, and home. Only person saying he's this guy, Anthony. And he was like, the reason why, because this motherfucker's coming here and giving me work that I need. None of y'all is giving me the work y'all need.
Tony Jeff, a respected boxing trainer, calls Jake Paul's current camp unlike anything he's seen from him before. He stresses that this is far from a typical setup. Instead, it resembles the kind of preparation usually reserved for world-class or Olympic-level athletes. Paul relies on state-of-the-art equipment, ultra-focused conditioning methods, on coaching that examines every corner of his performance. And this is where his training breaks the mold. The camp is built to develop not just raw power, but also speed, engine, and technical sharpness, giving him a truly complete foundation for top-tier boxing. Jeff explains that this structure helps Paul adjust quickly to new situations and maintain a strong advantage early in the fight. Where many traditional camps might zero in on only one dimension of a boxer, this all-around system makes Sir Paul is balanced and ready for the many different problems Joshua can present. The sheer intensity and detail of the camp highlight Paul's determination to compete at the very highest level.
Strength training for explosive power, slamming that ball against the wall and rotating, just like you'd be throwing a hook. You see there, he's caught it, he's pulled it back, turning into it, boom. We also see he's getting in the ice bath here. Now, ice baths is not just good for recovery, helping with the inflammation in your body after what you've been putting it through, but it's also good for the mental side of things. Because when you go in an ice bath, everything in your mind is saying, get out of here, what are you doing? So you've got to get past that part of your mind that's telling you that and push through it. So it's great for your mindset as well. Now, one more thing I just want to add with Jake Paul's training before I give you a recap on it. We always see him training. Look, he's got like a group of people around him. There's cameramen there, there's coaches there, all spurring him on. Now, boxing is normally a very lonely sport. When you're in the gym, it's normally you and your coach. Unless you're dealing with a group of people, it's harder for you to get the one-on-one attention that you need. So when you're fighting as a pro, when I was fighting as a pro, it was often just me and my coach. Sometimes there will be another guy in there as well. Sometimes my dad would come, which really helped push me through the session. But when my friends did ever come, maybe one session here and there, that spurred me on even more to get the most out of us. As we see here, he's got people around him all the time. Cameramen, coaches, friends, strength and conditioning coaches, his boxing coach, and he's just his full team around him who's getting paid. What that does is help the fighter, in this case, Jake, get more out of the sessions rather than being there by himself, which I think is great. When I was training for the Olympics, we had that sort of support around us and it was amazing. But when I turned pro, that went out the window because you've got to pay for that support. So now my final thoughts on Jake Paul's boxing training. There isn't anything I can pull apart here. Everything is...
Veteran boxing journalist Dan Rafael has also noticed a major leap in Jake Paul's abilities since the Tommy Fuhrer fight. Rafael points to better technique, improved stamina, and smarter ring IQ, noting that Paul now reads situations inside the ropes with far more nuance. However, Rafael also reminds viewers that even with these upgrades, the task in front of him remains enormous, and this is where expectations must stay grounded. Paul's growth proves he can learn, adapt, and keep evolving, but experts warn that this next bout will show whether he can pull all those lessons together under extreme pressure. Rafael's view balances hope with reality. Yes, Paul has clearly risen as a fighter, but stepping in with a former unified champion means he must be almost perfect with his execution and decision-making. This assessment reflects respect for Paul's progress and the understanding that development never stops, especially before a fight that could define an era. The Wade concept host adds another layer, offering a sharp take on Jake's mind stand, warning him about drifting into overconfidence. Confidence is essential in combat sports, but there is a point where belief can slide into denial. Analysts caution that Paul might be edging toward that line, leaning too heavily on faith in his talent instead of fully acknowledging the danger of Joshua's experience and power. The host explains that stepping into a fight while ignoring reality can be risky, stressing how crucial it is to pair honest preparation with mental toughness.
But he's actively like, yes, I am going to knock out AJ. And in any other timeline, we'd all point and laugh. And some people still are pointing and laughing. But I'm just sitting here going, What has he seen that makes him believe that? Not only of what's happened to AJ, sure, he's been knocked out by Daniel Dubois, another 240-pound champion of the world, but what has he seen in himself that makes him think he's going to knock out AJ when he hasn't knocked out anyone since Mike Perry? And Mike Perry, as we know, is not a high-level boxer. He hasn't knocked out a high-level boxer. He could hurt Julio Cesar Chavez, but Chavez knew to cover up and not engage. Maybe he thinks AJ will engage with him, and AJ does do some bad things in the pocket. Again, we'll save it for another video, but the only thing I can think of, and I said it at the beginning of this video, is Jake is absolutely delusional, and he's convinced himself of what's going to happen based on very outlying data, right? The Daniel Dubois knockout, how he struggled with Usyk.
Hey, who are you fighting, when, and why? I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm fucking him.
What? I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm him.
Holy shit, just let me take a second. Is this motherfucker out of
Dude, it's light work. Light work.
Well, at least my good old friend Tyson Fury believes that I can win.
If Jake Paul fights Anthony Joshua, I'm putting £1 million on Jake Paul. I want some free money.
Smart man, Tyson.
I need to see a bet slip, Tyson. I know you got it like that these days. $1 million's like like a slight 10,000 to the rest of us, or maybe 1,000 after those couple of title fights with Alexander Usyk. But I need to see the bet slip. I saw the line when, and this is kind of crazy, I saw the line when the fight first got made, and we put it in the video. Jake was plus 800 to win. Jake has now moved to plus 650 to win. That's outright. I don't know by knockout, I'm not sure, but plus 800 was already like, okay, that's a big underdog, and Joshua was like minus 1,500, but now Joshua's at minus 1,250, and Jake's at plus 650. This line is closing, and I'm wondering why. What are people seeing?
Make no mistake, this is the biggest fight of my career. I'm walking into the lion's den. I'm doing something that no one else has ever done before. I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix. My voice cracked, I'm still going through puberty. The biggest fight of 2025, USA versus UK. He's got the belts, the size, the history, but I have the balls. Be careful what you wish for. Jake versus Joshua, Judgment Day. He has a 90% knockout ratio, but I have a 100% chance of drinking this Celsius.
Okay, there we go. Ads only. Yeah, I mean, having balls is good when it comes to making a fight like this, when it comes to, putting yourself out there and again, just operating on self-belief, but it isn't going to win Jake this fight. Him being ballsy is not going to win him this fight. Like, him making the decision to take this fight is ballsy. And we can all say it, and we have said it, and I feel like it's starting to become a thing where it's like, that's the only thing we're saying. I feel like everybody is just pointing out that Jake has big balls for doing this, and that's a ballsy move. And that's correct, but we established that already. So now let's talk about the fight itself. What about Jake's ballsiness is going to win him this fight? The fact that he wants to throw, the fact that he'll mix it up, that may be the worst thing that Jake could do is mix it up with Anthony Joshua, because again, you get into 50-50s with a guy that can crack like he can, 90% finish rate. He'll put you on the canvas. He's done it to so many other heavyweights. And yes, AJ sometimes is the one that gets clipped in exchanges like that, with the left hook especially, but we'll do a more...
Former world champion Carl Froch underscores just how high the stakes are for both men. For Joshua, his legacy is on the table, with any mistake inviting fierce criticism from fans and the media. For Paul, his fast-rising name depends on proving he can share the ring with a true professional force and still walk away respected by boxing traditionalists. Froch presents this clash as a turning point for both careers, a moment where reputation, skill, and future opportunities collide. He points out that this is more than just a physical showdown. It is also a test of consistency, calm under fire, and the capacity to deliver when the spotlight is most intense. And what happens here could echo for years. The result will shape how each fighter is viewed going forward, influencing their paths, their options, and their place in the sport's history.
Paul is not a step in the direction of becoming world champion again. There's many people who could box. He's not going to make that kind of money. So let's just be honest with anybody else. So let's just be straight up honest about it. He's doing it all for the money. It's all about the money. I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished in boxing, he needs to retire. That's just my opinion, that's just my truth. I think he's done in heavyweight boxing at an elite competitive level. So that makes sense. I've been vindicated. He's now fighting fake Paul in what will be a massive mismatch. If this is correct and it's 10-ounce gloves in a professional boxing rules, 8 3-minute rounds, It's not going to go 2 rounds, is it? It shouldn't do. It shouldn't last a round. But we're going to have to wait and see, aren't we? It's hard to get your head around. It's hard to know what to say about this. AJ's obviously excited about it, about making some serious bunts. And Jake Paul's telling us that he's going to shut all the haters up by jumping in there with AJ. So what is actually going off? We're not going to know, are we, until the fight actually, till the first bell goes. We're not going to know what's actually behind all this. And we can't start throwing accusations of any sort of skullduggery going off, because we've got to take it at face value. It's not an exhibition, so nothing's pre-scripted. This is a professional boxing match that you can make bets on. So it's got to be a real fight. And if AJ goes in there with them little 10-ounce gloves on and throws the Ngannou 1-2 down the middle, I'm talking about the one that rendered Ngannou unconscious and almost snapped his leg. And Ngannou's a decent fighter in the cage. You know, he's a good MMA fighter, and you saw him, he took Tyson Fury, what did he take him, 8, 9, was it 10 rounds? Can't remember how long it was, but he took him the distance and lost a close decision. So he's quite capable, but AJ's a big punching heavyweight. And fake
boxing analyst Joey Knight shines a light on business logic behind Jake Paul's choice. He explains that Paul fully understands show high-profile matchups, can exploding attention around the world and in financial impact. Taking on a former star like Joshua virtually guarantees scheduling coverage, massive audience interest, and paydays on a scale few fighters at his experience level ever see. But the strategy doesn't end inside the ring. This decision fits alongside Jake's mental and physical preparation, showing a big-picture plan that mixes ambition in the sport with sharp instincts. For branding and growth, Knight's breakdown reveals that modern boxing is about more than punches thrown. Who you fight when you fight, and how you promote the event will play crucial roles in shaping a career. Financial rewards and competitive goals often overlap, guiding the choices fighters make as they build their name.
Cash, maybe not as much as the Anthony Joshua fight, but a lot of cash, and can still have a serious chance of going on to earn even more paydays. Whereas the damage that it could do to his body could be irreversible for that opportunity to earn money in a boxing career going forward. So is this the retirement bag, or do you actually think you can win? Because I read a study recently, and I believe it said something along the lines of men overemphasize or overcalculate their ability to fight by about 500 times. And I'm saying Jake Paul would probably need to be 500 times better to stand a chance against Anthony Joshua. And I can't get how he doesn't already know this. Surely he has sparred with heavyweights. Surely the recent sparring that he had with the likes of Shakur Stevenson and with the likes of Ray Ford, amongst others, Badu Jack, surely that would have taught you that there are levels to boxing. And if these small guys are able to show you things that you had no idea that you were vulnerable to in a boxing ring, what happens when someone who hits 4, 5, 6 times as hard as that does the exact same thing to you and lands it on your chin? The whole reason of why I know where I am in the influencer boxing scene, in the misfit scene, is because of the level that I have sparred at. I've sparred boys that have gone on to box for world titles. I've sparred with English champions, and I've sparred with
legendary ring announcer Michael Buffer speaks to the wider cultural impact of the Paul brothers on today's boxing scene. He notes that Jake and Logan have brought a younger, digital-first audience into the sport, injecting fresh energy and curiosity. Buffer applauds their talent for crafting storylines, building suspense, and turning events into must-watch moments. Through a blend of serious training and media savvy, the brothers have pulled new eyes toward boxing, boosting its visibility in a crowded entertainment world, and that influence can't be ignored. By merging performance inside the ropes with strong, personal brands outside, they've shown how narrative, marketing, and athletic effort together can reshape how people experience the sport.
And Logan, first of all, are fantastic athletes. You know what Logan does with the WWE and what Jake does with boxing. He knocks people out and everything. And they both have massive fan bases. And for me, it's great to see people get young people that follow them that didn't have, like, they don't remember Ali or Joe Frazier or whatever. It's not in their wheelhouse. So it's great to see them developing fight fans and a big fight out.
That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching and staying with us till the end. Until next time, stay safe and stay tuned for more.